Hi, I'm Neil Golding, and this is the second special Avcon podcast. And we've got to my left, we've got LK or Little Kuriboh.
Or Martin Billany, whichever one you want to use.
Okay. And I believe we've got a special guest here as well.
Yes, I'm Mariana Miller, a very famous voice actress, also Martin's fiance.
Okay. Awesome. And to my right, we have...
Kendall, I'm the secretary for Avcon.
And...
Daniel Habentius, I'm the screen coordinator for Avcon.
And that's actually a perfect person to have on with actual an anime related YouTube kind of celebrity
Sort of thing.
Some anime guy,
Yeah,
like on the Twitter, which
I've been described as many things, including that pirate anime guy by the famous Ray William Johnson. You know him?
Oh, I hate him.
I'm not too fond of him for saying that about me.
Actually, the voice you just did then reminded me a lot of David Firth.
The voice I did? What voice?
The way you did the talking about just then. I don't know, maybe a lot of
my speaking voice.
A lot of similarities, like Salad Fingers.
Who is this person?
No, Salad Fingers.
Oh yeah.
Salad Fingers.
Yeah, kind of similar voice. Kind of thing.
I like rusty.
That's some old internet stuff right there.
You're old internet.
I am old
I
internet
thought that
stuff.
was actually kind of newish, but
Was it
No,
the
it's been
Salad
around
Fingers
for-
new?
It's been around for a while.
yeah, it's been around for a while. I mean,
Like
when I
6
think
years.
when I think old, I think like 97.
Back when the internet was born.
Yeah, baby internet.
Back before Square Enix, when we had just Squaresoft, I think it was.
Squaresoft.
Square Enix.
What's this?
I used
Square
to-
Enix, the video game company.
Yeah, I knew about them. I know about them, but
They used to be Squaresoft
Yeah.
before all that. I think back in '97 it was Squaresoft still.
I have no idea.
yeah,
Did you want to rant about them?
97 was about time Final Fantasy 7-ish came out.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Six
Then it
better.
all just sort of went down.
I'm a fan of Final Fantasy 9 myself.
Oh, that's
I like
my
to
most
think-
hated.
I like
Huh?
to think
My
that.
most hated.
Really?
Final Fantasy, yeah.
Oh, why?
Because the characters had no personality whatsoever.
Really? But Zidane grabs her bum and is like, ooh, soft.
That's just like a character.
That's way more personality than like Squall, who's just like,
Whatever.
I like to
It's
think that
yes,
Squall
no,
breaks
whatever.
the fourth wall all the time, though. He's just like, everyone around him is like, oh, Squall, you're the best leader ever. He's like, why? Why is this happening to me?
Did you guys ever play Final Fantasy 6?
Not yet.
I've
Oh.
heard very, very good things about it though.
That's actually one of the first games I would actually replay again. Like with Final Fantasy 7,
Oh,
played it through. Yeah,
sorry.
no.
Thought I wasn't recording, but that's all good. Final Fantasy 6.
Six is
Final
good.
Fantasy 6, stop.
6 is good. 7, too much fan base, I guess. It makes sense. It was okay.
People like it too much.
Yeah,
That's true,
Mostly for the
though.
fact because one of the main characters died, and it's because of the girly guy.
Dan, I
girly
think
man.
we're sort of over the spoilers.
Well,
Are we?
What?
Uh,
Oh come on! It's been out
spoiler?
for
Is it
10
still a
years.
spoiler?
at least.
No, it's been 10 years. I'd say there's a 10-year mark, and we passed it.
I remember.
Unless it's like Harry Potter, it's like
No, there's actually the Jane Eyre movie came out recently, and Twitter just went crazy. People were like, I can't believe they spoiled the ending of Jane Eyre.
What?
It's like, the book's like 150 years old.
spoilers. Jeez.
I actually did come across someone who got offended about someone spoiling the heiress death scene. They were like, "Oh, I just started playing that game." I'm like, number one, if you just started playing that game, shut up. Number two, if you haven't even gotten to the end of the first disc, shut up even more.
that's where they stopped playing.
Back when games had discs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disc 1, Disc
Disc
2,
one,
Disc
Disc
19.
No,
I kind of prefer digital distribution now.
Yeah.
I think it works a lot better.
It does. I mean, like it's much easier for like not low quality, but like lower tier developers to get their stuff out. You know?
Definitely.
it's a
Yeah.
lot harder for you to loan games, though.
Duke Nukem 3, for example.
Yeah, no one played that.
Well, the loading screens in that apparently the Xbox is horrible.
It's been
I got it
60.
specifically to torture myself, and it was exactly what I expected it to be. It was really bad.
very dated.
Duke Nukem Forever, yeah, very dated and also offensive. I mean, the things that I was
Very
describing to you.
offensive.
Abortion jokes and all that kind of stuff, and it's just
Really?
like, really, how do you make this entertaining? I don't
Pretty
know.
much.
I mean, South Park can do it because they kind of like they're making fun of every aspect.
They know
of it.
that they're offensive.
Duke Nukem is just toilet humor. It's not just it's actually trying to sell itself as this being a marketable thing. It's not.
It seemed like the older Duke Nukem game, like Duke Nukem 3, was a little bit more refined than the new one. The new
Yeah.
one just seemed like it was done by people that thought they knew what Duke Nukem was, but they kind of obviously didn't.
Well, the other thing that the other team didn't do, they actually brought it out, but
Yeah.
like,
At
what can
cost.
you do? Yeah, what cost? 10 years, 12 years, whatever how long it took, to actually bring out the game, and high expectations. And I think the reason why they did bring it out now, like that team just now, is to get a general idea of how many people would actually buy the game, and then they'll make a sequel.
I think as well, partially Randy Pitch for the developer was like, he was just sick of waiting for it.
Yeah.
It's like, just, put it out of its misery or put it out. Kind of thing.
My favourite part about Duke Nukem Forever was there's this option, there's this weapon in the game where you transmit, it's from Duke Nukem 3D, you transmit a holographic Duke onto the field, and it runs around and it starts saying his catchphrases, and one of the things he says is, "I am here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of ass." And I just thought, that subverts the original Duke Nukem idea, so it's kind of like, they should have done more stuff like that.
Yeah. So, Little Kuriboh, you're in Adelaide.
Yes.
What's your main purpose for being in Adelaide?
The main purpose for being in Adelaide is because Avcon have flown me out here very graciously, and I'm very grateful for that. And specifically because last time I came to Australia, I had such a great time, and there were so many great fans here, and they're all very passionate, and the place is lovely, and I couldn't wait to come back.
Mm-hmm. So you've got a panel at, I believe, on the Saturday morning.
I have one on Saturday as well, I think. Let's see. There's a Saturday 2 till 3 in Theatre 2, and I have the Sunday one 11:30 to 12:30.
So what can attendees expect at a Little Kuriboh panel?
Any given Little Kuriboh panel, it varies. Usually a new video, but there have been times when I've actually gone to a convention and I haven't been as prepared as I usually am. I think it was Akumacon in Ireland earlier this year. I had a 2-hour Q&A, a 2-hour panel scheduled, and I hadn't brought anything with me because it was a small time convention, and I didn't have that much time. I didn't have the time. I would have done something otherwise, but I went up there and I was like, don't have anything planned. There's nothing like they haven't given me any idea what to expect, so I just thought I'd do a Q&A. And that's kind of the basic thing that I'll do if I go up there and I haven't got anything. And it actually went really well. People have interesting things to talk about, and the best part about it is that I kind of consider myself to be just a fan still, even though you've got all this attention thrown at you. But at the same time, I can talk to people about this random stuff like video games, for example, and anime in general, and internet related things, and we all kind of know what we're talking about. It's not like where you can kind of, not to compare myself at all, that's the point. I'm contrasting myself with like William Shatner talking about Star Trek these days. He probably wouldn't know what the new Star Trek stuff was right now, and or sci-fi in general. I don't know how clued in he is. But you can talk to me about just general anime stuff and Yu-Gi-Oh in general. Dan Green probably wouldn't know what happened in episode 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters.
No, he's gonna watch it, and he's gonna
specifically prove
and
me
then
wrong.
punch you in the face.
I remember the first big panel I did. It wasn't a big panel; it was a fan panel, but it was with Wayne Grayson, who does the voice of Joey on the actual Yu-Gi-Oh! English dub. And we were answering questions, and at one point somebody asked about the origin of the Marek voice. I can't remember, but I mentioned that I'd taken some influence from John Lithgow and The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, and me and Wayne Grayson got into like a big 5-minute discussion about Buckaroo Banzai and 80s movies, and everybody in the audience was just like, what? They were kind of out of the loop, and it kind of felt weird, but to be having that conversation with Wayne Grayson, but it was pretty cool.
So how does being a YouTube celebrity, how to, at least I guess when you started to get popular, how did you cope with popularity, and how have you learned to cope with it?
Originally, I didn't cope very well at all. It got to the point where when I realized I actually had an audience of a few 10,000 people, that's early days, but even then that was a big deal for me. I would upload an episode, and I would think, this is it, this is the one where they're going to turn against me and be like, well, you're no fun anymore, what's this guy doing? And I would upload the video, and then I'd turn off the computer and I'd just go off and just do something else for a whole day or something like that. I had no idea how people would react, and I started to realize people were getting expectations. And I remember very vividly that one of the messages I got on YouTube around about episode 10, I think, was that they sent me a message saying, the last 2 episodes weren't as good as the old ones. Please make the next episodes good, because I want this show to be good. And I was just like, oh no. But at the same time, you can't really... people have been saying, this episode wasn't as good as the last one since day one. So if I were to take people at their word about that, it would be a constant decline since day one, and you just can't think about that. I tend to just if my friends enjoy it, and if the general consensus is that people like it, and if I keep doing panels and it keeps filling rooms full of with thousands of seats, then I tend to get the impression that people are still enjoying it.
So with your YouTube channel, do you ever get fans that get banned and come back and do the Shakespeare?
Huh?
It's where
I explained this yesterday.
Sorry.
This is
a project.
Mega 64. You heard of them at all? Yeah, they've got a thing where when they post a video, they'll get good feedback and bad feedback, and what they've said is they'll actually kind of block people within the first few comments if they don't like the feedback because it's silly. And the person will come back with a video and do a grandiose kind of exit. If you want me to come back, I'll come and you have to do what you used to do. Video games IRL kind of thing. And it's actually, do you get those kind of things?
I don't.
There's that one guy from last year.
Which one? Oh, I don't know if I should talk about him here specifically, but I've never really gone out of my way to block fans on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I've blocked people on personal accounts and stuff like that, but that's a different thing altogether. On my YouTube channel, only if people are genuinely trying to rile up people by insulting them or something, I will actually step in and be like, okay, enough of that. Mm-hmm. But I never go out of my way to just block people because they don't like the stuff. Because in my opinion, they have every right to dislike something.
Yeah,
even if I'm really proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Kendall, being last year's screening coordinator, do you have any specific questions for Little Kuriboh?
Oh, well, I guess we could sort of run through how the magic happens. The Yu-Gi-Oh episodes, I wouldn't really know where to begin to imagine how the episodes are sort of scripted and then constructed. Do you just walk down the street and someone yells out mushrooms and you're like, mushrooms, I must put them into the next video? Or do you have a general overarching story, or does it get influenced by daily existence and people around you?
A bit of all that, really. I've some of the best things that I've come up with have been just stuff I've been thinking about while at work or something like that. But usually I'll just literally take... in my opinion, the best character-related stuff in my show is stuff that's actually in the actual TV show that I just exaggerate. For example, I think Kaiba and Bakura are some of the strongest characters in Yugioh Abridged, and I haven't changed them much. They just kind of are more self-aware than their actual anime counterpart, and that kind of seems to be the one missing ingredient that makes them funny. I don't know, but with writing a show, I usually just sit down and try and link the plot together in an abbreviated style and make the dialogue amusing and snappy. And it used to be a much easier process than it is these days, because originally there's a lot more to say about each character, and once you've actually stuck with those characters for a long time, where do you go with them as far as humor goes? Because they don't... I think Yu-Gi-Oh has some really strong characters, but unfortunately when it gets to a certain point, they don't develop them as much as they could. Joey kind of gets to a standstill after around season 2 when he's had his whole Battle City thing, and then
you have heaps of character development for him. He's got his family, he's got his sister's blindness issue, and
but then it kind of
just nothing
stops. And Tristan doesn't really do anything. He's a void.
He's a monkey, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a monkey right now. That's probably the most amount of character development to go through with him. I did actually have some pretty big plans with that, but I thought there was a lot more to that whole robot monkey thing than there originally was, and I went back and looked at it and said, wow, I can't really do much with this, because he's being held by Serenity the whole time. I can't really do much with that. But as far as the other characters goes, it's really just it's the Yami show, for the most part. Even Yugi himself.
Especially the early episodes. There's a lot of focus on Yami and Yugi and the relationship, and then sort of Teia's trying to get with them, and there's
she's
a whole parody kind of thing going on. But I think as the show's developed, it's sort of spread out maybe a bit more, and probably Marek and Bakura would be the two characters that I think were the focus of the show, maybe just because when they're on, they sort of just draw my attention all the time. You just can't not think about them.
It's
and then
the midriff.
The other characters are talking, and you're like, oh yeah, what he said just before was really funny.
Was that a question?
I don't know. Talking. So who would be your favourite character, I guess?
Probably in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, probably Marek, just because I always say this, he's kind of like a younger version of me. Not literally, I didn't live in a cave or a tomb or whatever, I didn't live underground and get tortured all the time. But
could have fooled me.
He's kind of like the part of me that was very uninhibited and stupid and didn't really care about a lot of things. He's a lot of fun. It's very easy to slip into that character as well, because it's kind of just ingrained in there. But outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, I think the Naruto thing from the Naruto spoof, I really enjoyed just writing just the randomness of that character. In fact, everybody on that show is a lot of fun to write for.
It took me a long time to actually get around to watching that, because like you've got Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, you've got the Season 0, you've got the Crapshow Monsters, you've got the Marik's Evil Council, you've got Naruto Abridged, you had the One Piece Abridged thingy, and then you're doing Dragon Ball Z Abridged as well. Like, there's just so much stuff to watch.
There's a lot, but I mean, I hope some of it's worth watching.
Oh, it's quite enjoyable. We sat down and did the Naruto Abridged marathon.
You watched that
one night. We watched it. We watched it all.
One.
I watched it, and then he came home from work, and I'm like, sit down and watch this. So he did.
I really enjoy writing that one. I like to say that I write Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged for everybody else, but I write the Naruto thing for me. I try and make myself laugh with that one, and sometimes it works for other people as well.
Are there any other series? Sorry.
No, I was going to say I like the Naruto Abridged better most of the time as well.
Better?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's more fart jokes.
Or the chain smoker.
Yeah.
I haven't actually had him do a smoking joke in about 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Nobody seems. Oh, you noticed that?
You were at Manifest last year with the
cigarette,
cigarette,
yes.
and I was like, oh, he's not actually smoking. But there's probably not that many areas in the show at that point where he can stop and like
Go.
whoa.
Well, I'm kind of consciously trying to move away from it because I kind of feel like that joke is like the kind of the. I mean, I don't want to.
It's been done.
It's been done, and also it's like he's seemed to have grown since then, which is a strange thing to say about the guy who's doing fart jokes now. But he just seems to have found his own niche, and he's a really funny character, which is rare because a lot of the time with like these parodies, the main character isn't usually the funniest one. It's the side character who never got the actual development, like Tristan in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. He's one of the funnier characters, or Ikura or Marik. And then it seems to be the underutilized one in the actual show who gets the most jokes because you feel like you're more free to play around with them. But with Naruto, because I have very little knowledge of the actual show, I just went crazy with the main character, and people really seem to enjoy him.
Yeah, at Manifest last year, you had a panel and some random person was dressed up in a Naruto character costume, and she's like, "Oh, do you know why I hate you?" It's like, it's because I am so and so character, and you're like,
I have no idea.
No idea who that is.
Are there any other anime and I guess cartoon series that you're thinking of in the back of your mind to abridge?
Well, I did a card games for charity thing, which is a charity drive that I do every so often, and I said that if we raised a certain amount,
3,000.
if we raised $3,000, I would do a 5Ds parody, which I finished, and you will see that at the convention this weekend. And I also said that there would be a side charity drive where people donated a certain amount in the name of an anime that they wanted me to do, and the one that won that one is Evangelion. Okay. So I had to actually sit down and do an Evangelion parody.
So easy.
Have you watched it before?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Evangelion.
It's your favorite anime, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is strange.
You've seen the movies? Like the current
I haven't seen the current movies, no.
There's 2.2 and 1.0. 2.2 branches off from the original series considerably.
Yeah.
The way Oscar is introduced and stuff is interesting to say the least. Like,
I really want to check them out. I know that you guys are showing the second one.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if I should start with that one.
1.0 before, maybe we can see. We've got a copy of it. One of us has.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I'll get you watching that before 2.2, so you're sort of up to speed.
Yeah, previously on
What was kind of funny was he actually wrote like a parody of Cruel Angel Thesis, and it was like basically completely ripping on the show, just really dry, making.
But I love the show, and I like to say that I only make fun of things that I love because I don't think you really need to.
People took it so seriously.
People really.
Yeah.
People like writing blogs like Little Kuriboh's done the anime community a huge injustice and blah blah blah.
Right, they were like, and my account, because it gets banned quite frequently. I don't know if you know.
Oh, it got banned right.
It got
after
banned
that.
right after that video came out, and somebody was like, "Justice is so." What are you on about?
Well, what's funny is I sang that song for him,
did, yeah.
and I hate that show.
You hate everything about that show.
I do. God.
Well, Shinji is pretty easy to, pick. He's always crying. But not so much in the movies. Not so much.
I heard he's like a more positive, more forthright character.
Something that's almost as bad as on Gundam. Was it Gundam Seed? Don't ever watch that.
No.
But that's pretty easy to use as an abridged thing as well. There's just so many bad bits in it. They just copy and paste the animations and everything. Like, jeez, it's. Yeah, enough.
There's always the Street Fighter cartoon as well.
Oh,
Which one?
You know,
Which one?
the bad 90s one? Have you seen the video of it?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to. There's the companion one to that, Darkstalkers. They did
Yeah.
a cartoon version. I really wanted to do one with like I wanted Kaiser to play the vampire. What, Dimitri?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted him to play that. I had a bunch of ideas, but that never ended up happening. But as for another anime I want to do, I'd love to do Tenchi Muyo. That's like one I'd really go out of my way to take on. The only problem is a lot of women in that show, and I don't know that many female voice actors. I mean, I know you, and you'd be great for Ryoko, but I don't know anybody else who would be. I mean, Washu is the big one. I don't know if you guys have seen Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah.
Like the blue hair one or something.
Washu's the little redhead one,
Yeah.
and she's like my favorite character, and she's a very, very good character and a very, very funny character. And first of all, to make her funnier than she is in the actual show is difficult, and to make her as to get the voice right is going to be very difficult. If I ever get around to doing that, because that character is. I mean, I was like the big Washu fan before I became like into Yu-Gi-Oh and everything.
So you see Little Washu? Little Washu?
And my name on chats was Washu Chan Fan.
Okay.
Pretty. What are you?
Truth comes
I
out.
don't even know you anymore.
First Evangelion, now this.
God, so many things coming. The dab.
So many things come
Obstacles to
out.
overcome.
So Dan, being this year's screening coordinator, have you got any specific Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged and Abridged questions?
I can think of a couple, I guess. With timelines regarding each episode, do you set yourselves one, or you just go with it until you've got something sorted out and then just put it in, or you set up like got yourself 3 months to do this episode, or
Yeah, it varies. It really does vary. But like at the beginning of this year, I said that I was going to make one episode every month, and I did actually write. I've written a bunch of scripts, but I've just not had the time to sit down and I just haven't been able to.
No, you haven't had the time because you've been too busy taking care of all this fiance visa nonsense
Yeah.
and just general real life.
Coming to Australia for conventions, what a waste.
Yeah.
Right.
and his attention whore girlfriend flying out to England for 3 weeks at a time.
Conventions really don't take up that much time. I mean, I usually try my best to make videos for conventions when I'm actually going. So if like I have a month till a convention happens, I know I'm going to sit down and make at least one video. And in this case, it was kind of down to the wire on whether or not I'd get the 5Ds thing made. And
He's freaking out.
I was freaking out a little bit, and I managed to get that done in the end, and I'm very happy with it. But I think honestly, if I didn't have a real life and problems to worry about, I could probably just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend this week making one episode and spend the next week making another one. It never works out that way, though, unfortunately. I mean, if I do set myself a goal, I can usually achieve it, but it's not usually like within the next. I mean, I usually say I'll give myself a month to make an episode, and that'll do it. You know,
that's cool.
that's if I know that I have a clean schedule.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's go on to our first song. We've got Xandox, who is a local up-and-coming artist. He used to go to the video game club with myself and a few of the guys that work on the VG team. This is his song Tribal Dance from his first EP, Full Spectrum. So enjoy.